All right, guys, so this is part 2 of my fast setting concrete winter mix. We're getting on to the finishing now. The first part was about the pouring, and I shared with you what I use for a mix design in cold weather to get the concrete to set up fast. Now today we knew there were showers coming in around, it said 1:30, 2 o'clock. So we're trying to beat the showers with all the finishing, the power troweling. This patio right here gets a broom finish. You can see the pump truck is still here in the background, so we're going right from pouring the concrete right back to finishing. So it's starting to set up really good on us. We're getting our garage doors all tapered down. The garage isn't far from getting on it with a power trowel here. We started pouring the concrete in the garage, and then we jumped to the patio, and then we went to the house. And the reasoning behind that was, if it did rain earlier than expected, we're trying to get the garage floors an exposed floor. The concrete's exposed. The broom finish patio, obviously nothing's getting covered, nothing's covering that. That's exposed, but the house is getting flooring over it. So if the house gets rained on a little bit before it gets completely done, we're not too worried about it because it's getting some type of flooring over it. That was the reasoning for pouring it the way we did. And the fast setting concrete mix that we use, my basic winter concrete mix is a 3,500 psi. We start with that. Sometimes we'll bump it up to a 4,000 if it's really, really cold out. But 3,500 psi, we got water reducer in it. We got fiber mesh in it. We use warm to hot water. So the water at the boiler at the concrete plant is anywhere from like 130 degrees to 160 degrees at the boiler. So the water's pretty hot coming out of the boiler. They put that in the concrete truck when they batch it out. And then when the concrete shows up on site and it gets mixed up in the drum and we start pouring it out, we want the concrete temperatures to be at least in the high 60s, if not in the low 70s. That's a good temperature for the concrete to start out at when the temperatures are really cold. If it's a little more than that, then great, because it's going to cool down really fast once you get it laid out like this. As you can see, we're going right into the finishing. We're getting this. This is the second time we got this magged out. We cut a joint in there. It's setting up really good. Putting the broom finish to it, and then that's done for the finish on the patio right here. We'll do the edge, we'll give it a picture frame for the edge, but that'll be it. And we'll let this just set up, and hopefully it sets up enough so if it does start raining, the rain's not really going to affect it. It'll be good and hard by 1:30, 2 o'clock this afternoon. And then I'm going to jump right back onto the garage here. And we got all the edges mag. We got our garage doors tapered down like we taper them. You saw a little bit of that in the beginning of the video. We put a little broom finish on the garage door tapers when the time is right for that. But timing here is key. Like, I don't want to get on it too early. I want this concrete to set up pretty darn hard when it's, let's say it's 35 to 40 degrees out. I know that just from experience, even if I can walk on this and I'm not sinking in at all, but I can kind of still see my footprints, that I'm going to be able to work it up with a power trowel just because of the cold temperatures out. You can see right there, I'm walking on it, not really sinking in, but you can see my footprints right there. And it doesn't matter, I got my bean boots on with a little bit of heel in it. That doesn't matter. Some of you guys think that, finishing with boots with a heel like that makes it a lot harder to finish. It doesn't if you know what you're doing and you know your timing. Whether I have a flat-soled sneaker on or these boots, finishing for me is just as easy either way. It doesn't matter to me. I like wearing my boots when it's damp outside and that might be walking through some mud or something like that. I'm not wearing shoes or sneakers or anything like that. I'm wearing my boots. So I jumped right on the garage. This is just about the right time right here. The house, not quite ready yet for the house, but the house is setting up pretty good. Now we started pouring the concrete probably at 6:45 in the morning, I'm thinking. And then that's our usual starting time. And then we got done pouring, right around 8:45, I'm saying 8:30, 8:45. This is about 9:30, 9:45 right here. So this garage, this is the first load we had. We had 4 total loads of concrete. Now, the first load's setting up really good on us. Remember, he probably started batching this at 5:30 in the morning, and now it's roughly, 9:30, 9:45. So this concrete's 4 hours old. Now, I'll get back to the concrete mix. So 3,500 psi, water reducer, hot water, what we call hot water, 130, 160 degree hot water. But you got to use accelerator. We use FLAKE accelerator, so a 50-pound bag of calcium chloride flake. Let's say we use 2 of those bags in a 10-yard load, so it's roughly 2%. And the reason we like the flake better is we can control the set time a little better on it. And what I mean by that is, we put it in on the job site. Some depending on how far you are from the concrete plant and how fast the concrete driver spins his drum, that'll increase the set time too, or decrease the set time. But if you put accelerator in at the plant, let's say you put some liquid accelerator in, or whether it's chloride or non-chloride, and it's got hot water, and then that driver is driving on the road for 45 minutes, spinning his drum really fast all the way to the job, that stuff's going to set up 10 times faster than having the same type of mix, but let's say a mixer driver who barely spins his drum at all. So there'll be quite a difference in the set times of those 2 loads. When you add the accelerator on the job, whether they spun it fast or not on the way to the site, there won't be quite a difference in the set times because you're adding the accelerator basically at the same time for each load, if you know what I mean. It's when the load shows up on the job, and then you let that accelerator mix in the drum for whatever you want, 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever you think is good, and then you start pouring it out. So as you can see, the garage is setting up really good. This is the second hit. It's down pretty darn good. The key is, are we going to beat the rain, or is the rain or snow going to start earlier than expected? That's always an issue, right? You get up in the morning, you watch the weather, you go by the radar. They kind of show the radar on the screen and what time, let's say, the green radar might be passing over your area, and you kind of hoping that's going to be true, right? But a lot of times it's not, and you'll get a shower or something before, let's say way before they even say the rain's supposed to show up. And if we could just get the sun to come out, like the sun is trying to shine through the clouds right here, if we could get the sun to come out for an hour, bang, this stuff would set up 10 times faster. We'd be done. I'm on to the 3rd hit now, and the garage is going to be down really smooth. I mean, almost good enough it's good enough for a garage finish, but we usually like to, what we call, shine these out or burn them out and get them down really smooth, and then we'll jump right on it with the saw, and we'll get our saw cuts cut in these things. So I'm getting this down, and right now the weather's looking pretty good. It's not, there's not too many black clouds around. We're starting to see a few pop up here and there, but they're kind of going around us. So we're hoping, because that house isn't setting up quite as fast as the garage, that stuff holds off for another 2 or 3 hours. And remember, it's probably 10:30 right now, so if it just holds off till 2 o'clock, we'd be good. I'm using my 30-inch power trowel in the garage here too. I don't have my 36-incher, and on a day like today, that 30-inch can keep up. We could use it on the house really on a day like today. And you're not going to get behind unless you really let this stuff set up for a long time without hitting it. I got that leaf blower in my hand because the leaves are blowing everywhere. You can see them all around the foundation. And there's nothing worse than getting leaves on the floor and then running over it with a power trowel, then trying to dig it out after. So I just blow those leaves out of the way as I'm power troweling. And if you listen right here, listen to the concrete. It's starting to even sound hard under my trowel. That's why I put this piece in. When the concrete sounds like this under your steel trowel, that means it's pretty darn hard on the surface, and you're just about done. Now, as you can see, after we got those edges troweled, bang, over comes a black cloud for about 10-15 minutes is all it takes, and it kind of got everything on the surface wet. So we let this dry out for quite a while before we hit it, and Darren's up there on the back. He's hitting the back. I'm hitting the garage again, just getting this worked up, making sure everything looks good. I don't want those, because it's been about an hour here since the last time I hit it, and I don't want those previous power trowel marks to set into the concrete and not be able to power trowel them out. So I'm just buzzing over this real quick. Then I'm going to let it set up and dry up again really good. So whatever it takes, and we hope it doesn't rain again on it. You can see, you wait till the end of the video, you can kind of see what happened to us. But the garage was just about done. The house needed 2 or 3 more hits before it was done. And now we're having to deal with a little bit of some showers here popping up a little bit quicker, you know, a couple hours quicker than what it showed on the radar this morning. But this is a pretty typical fall day here in Maine. You know, cold temperatures, windy. Sometimes we get showers, sometimes we'll get snow showers, and we're having to deal with all that stuff. Yeah, so I let that sit as long as I possibly thought I could, probably 45 minutes. And everything dried up really nice. And now I'm just going to buzz over that and kind of get it shined out, smoothed out, and then the garage floor here is going to be done. All we really need to do is, after I hit it with the trowel here, is measure it out, snap our chalk lines, and then get the sawing done. Hopefully before another black cloud comes over the top. Now it's around 11:30ish now, going on, you know, it's getting close to noontime, so we thought we still had, you know, hopefully a couple hours, which would have given us plenty of time to get this done. And as I'm hitting it right now, another black cloud's coming over the top, and it's cold, like it's chilly outside. And we're starting to see a few little snowflakes. You can kind of see them on the camera now. Now, a few little snowflakes like this isn't really going to bother much. It's when they start coming down a little heavier, and then the snowflakes are kind of wet snowflakes. And that kind of messes things up. So luckily, this hit did it for the garage. Like, the garage is done. We could leave the garage like this, come back, saw it the next day. It's not going to be that big a deal. And I'm going to pick the power trowel up. See, off to the left, we're picking it up with the crane, kind of swinging it off to the side. We'll get it cleaned up, put it back on the truck. It's just the house we're kind of dealing with. The good thing is the back patio is done. The broom finish is done. That's set up good and hard. So this stuff isn't going to bother that. And it's not going to bother the garage anymore. The garage is really basically what we call rock hard right now. And the house, like I said, it's going to be getting some type of flooring. It's either tile or click flooring or maybe carpet in the bedrooms. I don't really know exactly what it's getting for flooring, but it's all getting flooring over it. So it's down good enough now, so we could just leave it and hit it by hand, just buzz over it real quick by hand with the skids and a hand trowel, and just get any of the fuzzies off that are left from the power trowel if we wanted to. And then, you know, we could wait around. This is what we did. So we waited around. This stuff stopped. It stopped here. It snowed kind of for about 15-20 minutes. Got everything really good and wet, and then it stopped. And then it dried up. We let it sit for an hour. It dried up. We snapped all our chalk lines. We did end up buzzing some of the house by hand, just wiping it out. Snapped our chalk lines and got everything sawed. So we got all our saw joints in here. And when we got done, it was 1:30 p.m. when everything was done. So everything worked out good. It's just some of the stuff you got to deal with, and you got to take into consideration that if you don't accelerate your concrete mix, if you're not using hot water, maybe some water reducer and some type of accelerant in there, and you try to pour concrete when it's cold and you want it to set up, boy, it's not gonna. You got to have the right mix, the right ingredients all put together to get this stuff to set up really fast. And then you got to know how to work with it when it sets up fast. You can see the snow's coming down pretty good. So make sure you check out these other cold weather concrete mix videos. I've been doing this in the winter for 40 years now, so I got it down pat, and I can help you out. If you're new to my videos, please hit subscribe. Put new sub down in the comments, and I'll enter you into a drawing to wear some of the gear that we wear. But make sure you check out these 2 videos right now.